Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to the daily cricket show, Cricket Happenings, with your host Ram. And I welcome you with the news that Hardik Pandya, the Indian all rounder, scored a magnificent century. He scored a century before lunchtime. I mean, in one session, he cracked a century, and that was the feature of the third day's play here at day two. I would say the second day's play here in Palakele between India and Sri Lanka in the third Test match, where India, thanks to Hardik Pandya, who smashed 108 runs of just 96 deliveries with 8 fours and 7 spanking sixes, as he made 108 and it was his maiden century in Test cricket. Not only that, this was his first class century. He has never made a century in domestic cricket in India, and here he comes and slams his first ever century in first class cricket. It has happened to other players too, which I am going to talk about. So first I am going to only look at Hardik Pandya because he was the cynosure of all eyes today, and I am told that he is the fifth Indian player to score a maiden first class century. Even before making a domestic century, he went on to score his first century in international cricket. And the others who have done the same for India, some former names like Vijay Manjrekar, one of the great batsmen, Kapil Dev, the wonderful all-rounder, Ajay Ratra and Harbhajan Singh. And after looking at today's innings, I can say there is slowly there is an emerging all-rounder in the form of Kapil Dev in Hardik Pandya, who made a century in one session. He scored 107 runs in the first session of the second day. Well, he ran out of partners, but after that it was absolutely slam bang stuff. What a magnificent! I mean, and also he became the first Indian player to score over 100 runs in one session. He scored it before lunch, and he becomes the first Indian player, and that is a sort of a big feather in his cap, I would say. And also look at the way he punished Malinda Pushpakumara, the spinner. Malinda Pushpakumara was hit for 26 runs of a single over, and that is also another record as far as India is concerned, because Hardik Pandya scored 26 runs with the help of 2 boundaries and 3 spanking sixes of Malinda Pushpakumara. And the way he did it, the first one was slogged for a boundary. The second one was hit with tremendous force past the ball on Malinda Pushpakumara for 4. And then it was bang, 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 3 sixes. The first 6 went over the long on region. The second 6 made a hole into the side screen. And the third also disappeared into the crowd. And as I said, 26 runs. I do remember the former hard hitter Sandeep Patil hammering Bob Willis for 6 fours in a single over in England. And here comes Hardik Pandya breaking that record of Sandeep Patil by making 26 runs in a single over, and this was a stupendous record. And only 3 batsmen in international cricket have scored more runs than what Pandya has done. One is Brian Lara of West Indies, who scored 28 runs in a single over. George Bailey of Australia, who scored 28, I reckon it was against England. And Shahid Afridi has scored 27. So Pandya can be very proud of it. And also, so this is something that I wanted to really share. And also, he also shares the record for the joint second most sixes for India in a Test innings. And what a player Pandya is turning out to be for India. And Pandya actually reached the century in 86 balls, so it becomes the second fastest century by an Indian. And also, Navjot Sidhu's record of 8 sixes, I think, has been kept intact. So Navjot Sidhu is the one who holds the record for the most number of sixes in a single innings, which he did against Sri Lanka in Lucknow. And Hardik Pandya fell 1 short. Other than that, and he went after the spinners against the fast bowlers. I would say he could not really, I mean, he did, but he could not do as he did against the spinners, as he scored only 41 runs. But when it came to the spinners, Malinda Pushpakumara, or the spinners, I would say, he scored 37 runs of just 16 deliveries. And for India, there is absolutely no doubt that a wonderful all-rounder has arrived in the form of Hardik Pandya. What a spanking player Hardik Pandya is. And today, now I will go to the story. First, I wanted to share about Hardik Pandya, and that's the precise reason I kept talking about Hardik Pandya. And thanks to that Hardik Pandya innings, the slam bang innings that he played, India strode on to a massive total of 487 all out. He ran out of partners. His all pyrotechnic started off. He was pretty sedate at the initial stage, where he bided his time at the crease and carved out 50, played in a very sensible manner when the wickets were around. But once the number 9 batsman Shami was dismissed, it was absolutely cruise control by Hardik Pandya. He went hammer and tongs at the bowlers, and as I said, he scored the next 50 in 35 deliveries. It was simply slam bang stuff from Hardik Pandya. What a knock from Hardik Pandya. Take a bow, Hardik Pandya. And I can very safely say that India is finally getting an all-rounder in the mold of that great Indian all-rounder Kapil Dev. And Hardik Pandya, I'm sure Kapil Dev would be very proud after seeing this young bloke hammer the Sri Lankan attack to absolute shreds here today. Hardik Pandya, 108 of 96 deliveries, 8 fours and 7 sixes. Spanking stuff this. Now, as far as talking about the game was concerned, India were holding the aces here, and India were holding Sri Lanka by the scruff of the neck as they were all out for 487. And then the Sri Lankans themselves, by playing some very silly strokes, got them. They were bowled out for just 135, with Kuldeep Yadav taking 4 wickets for 40, Ashwin and Shami 2 and 1 to Pandya. And Sri Lanka were forced to follow on by Virat Kohli, the Indian captain, and they finished off at 19 for 1 at close on the second day. And India would, and there are 333 runs more that separate Sri Lanka from making India bat again. And India would definitely be eyeing something like a 3-0 whitewash here, which India has never done against Sri Lanka. And what a moment for India. India totally dominating this series. So it all started off with India resuming at the overnight score of 329 for 6. The Sri Lankans yesterday did a great fight back, as I said, but today all those efforts were absolutely undermined by this spanking knock from Hardik Pandya. Riddhiman Saha was the first to go. Vishwa Fernando getting Riddhiman Saha to nick a delivery. He was gone for 16. That was the first wicket. Kuldeep Yadav gave good support to Hardik Pandya by really, I would say, just occupying the crease as the best as he can by scoring 26 with 2 boundaries before Lakshan Sandakan picked up his wicket. Mohammad Shami was caught and bowled Sandakan for 8. Umesh Yadav, and that was the time, as I said, Kuldeep Yadav, Hardik Pandya played in a very sensible manner. He knew that there was a role for him to play. He bided his time in the company of Riddhiman Saha, Kuldeep Yadav and Mohammad Shami, and he really stayed put at the crease. As I said, he was hitting boundaries, but he was also playing in a very sensible manner. He was giving due respect to the Sri Lankan pace bowlers, and when it came to spinners, he was hammering them. And as Hardik Pandya strode on like a colossus, I would say, after the first 50. The 50 of 61 balls. After that, he turned them around. He went after Sandakan. Sandakan, I thought, extracted a bit of respect from Pandya, but Pandya still managed to swing him over the mid-wicket for a 6. He also hit one very good 6 or a pace ball. I think it was Lairu Kumara who was hooked over the fence for a 6. And then the main person that he targeted was the spinner Malinda Pushpakumara, who yesterday was the best bowler, and today his figures were absolutely rearranged by this prolific all-rounder from India, Hardik Pandya. His maiden century, his maiden first-class century, and India 487 all out. Hardik Pandya was the final wicket to go. What a partnership from 421 for 9 when Mohammad Shami left. Hardik Pandya got into an absolutely cruise control as he hammered them to all parts of the ground. It was a 66 runs, it was a breezy partnership, 66 runs partnership in a span of probably 48 balls. It was simply breezy, and what a knock from Hardik Pandya. One can't, stop talking about this wonderful knock. 487 all out, and then Fernando 2 for 87. 5 wickets. Lakshan Sandakan picking up his first 5-wicket haul in Test cricket. 35.3 overs, 4 maidens, 132 runs, and 5 wickets. Malinda Pushpakumara could not add to his tally of 3 wickets, and he was carted by Hardik Pandya. Now it was the turn for the Sri Lankans to reply to this total of 487 posted by India, and let's see what happened. Well, the Sri Lankans struggled right from the word go, with Mohammad Shami getting the ball to nip away beautifully, and also he was getting that pace going, and he really surprised Karunaratne with a wonderful bouncer which really took him aback. And after that, Mohammad Shami got to work by first working out both the openers in an absolutely similar fashion. As he got the ball, he bowled the ball wide of the crease, and he angled into the batsman, and then the ball held its angle, and the wickets were gone. The first to go was Karunaratne. Caught Saha, bowled Mohammad Shami for 4, and Upul Taranga was dismissed in identical circumstances. Caught by Riddhiman Saha, the bowling of Mohammad Shami for 5, with 1 boundary. With both the openers gone, the Sri Lankan innings read 23 for 2. And then 2 new batsmen at the crease, Kushal Mendis and the Sri Lankan skipper Dinesh Chandimal. Kushal Mendis decided to play his strokes, and he scored 4 fours, and then there was a run out that happened. Very good fielding by both Ashwin and also Kuldeep Yadav, and this combination had Kushal Mendis run out for 18 with 4 boundaries. And Angelo Matthews, the Sri Lankan captain, came out, and Dinesh Chandimal was at the crease at that time. Hardik Pandya now this is psychological thinking by the Indian captain Virat Kohli. He brought in Hardik Pandya to chip away, and Hardik Pandya obliged his skipper by getting Angelo Matthews' wicket, by getting him LBW for naught, which really put the Sri Lankans into a real tangle, I would say, at 38 for 4. And after that, the next wicket it was Niroshan Dikwala who came in, and after Niroshan Dikwala came in, what Chandimal and Dikwala did is to turn the equation around a bit. They not only helped the Sri Lankans recover, but they also put some aggressive batsmanship with Dikwala hitting a lot of boundaries, Dinesh Chandimal also doing the same, and suddenly they were turning the pressure on the Indians with this aggressive partnership, which was doing a good job, because from 38 it was a very good partnership. A 63-run partnership ensued between Niroshan Dikwala and Dinesh Chandimal as the score started moving. As that was going on, Niroshan Dikwala was the next victim, as Kuldeep Yadav, the Chinaman bowler, got into work. As Niroshan Dikwala got a ball, probably a ball which was sort of bowled from the wrist by Kuldeep Yadav, and Dikwala left his crease, but in the process he missed it totally. It was an easy stumping for Riddhiman Saha behind the stumps. Dikwala was a goner for 29 with 4 boundaries. After that, the next wicket to go was Dilruwan Pereira. Dilruwan Pereira was caught by Pandya in the deep of the bowling of Kuldeep Yadav for naught. And then Dinesh Chandimal was the next victim. Dinesh Chandimal had made some runs there. He had made, I think it was 40 odd runs that Dinesh Chandimal had made, and the wicket fell when Dinesh Chandimal was out. The Sri Lankan score at 125 for 7. Ashwin was the one who took the wicket of Dinesh Chandimal for 48 with 6 boundaries. After that, it was left to the tail enders, and it was pretty clean work. Kuldeep Yadav clean bowled Pushpakumara for 10 with 2 boundaries. Sandakan was a victim of Ashwin for 10 of 2 with 2 boundaries. Fernando was bowled by Kuldeep Yadav for naught. Lairo Kumra not out naught. And the Sri Lankans were bowled out for 135. And thus India taking a massive lead of 352 runs. The bowling, Shami, 6.5 overs, 1 maiden, 17 runs and 2 wickets. He bowled brilliantly. Umesh Yadav, 3.1 overs, no maiden, none for 23, was a bit costly. Pandya bowled 6 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 28. Good thinking on the part of Virat Kohli to give Hardik Pandya a trundle. Kuldeep Yadav, 13 overs, 2 maidens, 40 runs and 4 wickets. His first 4-wicket bag in Test cricket. Ravichandran Ashwin, 8.4 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 22. And 352 runs lead was a big cushion for India. And then it was the matter of the Sri Lankans having to survive 13 overs before close of play on day 2. They really had a very tough time with Umesh Yadav forcing Upul Taranga to chop a ball onto his stumps for 7 with 1 boundary. Karunaratne was not out on 12 with 2 fours. Pushpakumara was sent in as the night watchman. Did not get off the mark before close of play, as Sri Lanka closed at 19 for 1. Thus, the Sri Lankans, as I said, are trailing by 333 runs, and India definitely eyeing a clean sweep or probably even an innings defeat. It's a huge mountain to climb for Sri Lanka, I reckon, on the 3rd day. But it's a definite result game, and India would definitely be eyeing a 3-0 whitewash. Mohammad Shami, 4 overs, 2 maidens, none for 7. Ashwin, 6.6 overs, 4 maidens, 5 runs and no wicket. Umesh Yadav, 2 overs, 1 for 3, the wicket taker. Kuldeep Yadav, 1 over for 4 runs. And as I said, today's day definitely belonged to only one man, and that is none other than the prolific Indian all-rounder, Hardik Pandya. And now I'm going to briefly skim through some news here. We are talking about the Caribbean Premier League. The Caribbean Premier League yesterday saw wonderful innings from the Trinbago Knight Riders opener Sunil Narine. This was a match which was played between Trinbago Knight Riders and Barbados Tridents, the Kieron Pollard's team. And the Barbados Tridents batted first. They raised 152 for 9. The highest scorer being I will tell you the highest score of 152 for 9 was what Barbados Tridents put up in 20 overs. Dwayne Smith made 10, 30 to Kane Williamson. Shoaib Malik was the highest scorer with 51 of 38 deliveries with 5 boundaries. Kieron Pollard 14 of 22. 152 for 9 was what they made. Kevon Cooper had 142, 2 wickets to Beaton. Beaton was excellent in his bowling, 2 for 24 for Kevin Beaton. Trinbago Knight Riders, what a knock from Sunil Narine. Definitely Sunil Narine rode his luck, no doubt about it. A lot of catches were dropped off him, and Sunil Narine took advantage of the utmost luck. And I have to say, this Barbados Tridents fielding was absolutely abysmal yesterday, with the captain Kieron Pollard also dropping an absolute sitter. And Sunil Narine's definitely, one has to say, he was the one who took them to victory. But Sunil Narine was very lucky to have got 79, a very lucky 79, because all his whatever balls he were hitting, the catches were being floored by the Barbados Tridents fielders. It was not good fielding from Barbados Tridents, and that made them pay very heavily, with Sunil Narine making his highest score in T20 cricket of 79, just 45 deliveries, 6 fours and 5 sixes. And if you look at the whole score, it was all about Sunil Narine, who really did it to them. And that's it. They won the match. So that was the match. They won, as I said. Barbados Tridents shot themselves in the foot by actually fielding in an abysmal manner. And the other match that happened, the 10th match in the Caribbean Premier League, which was happening between St. Lucia Stars. St. Lucia was the one of the teams there, and Jamaica Talawas were the team which was playing. It was St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, and Patriots actually won the match. The Jamaica Talawas led by Chris Gale. What an innings from Evan Lewis. Evan Lewis can be one of the dangerous batsmen in West Indies cricket, according to me. The way he was smoking the ball to all parts of the stadium, and especially he was nicely picking the ball off his legs and beautifully flicking them into the stands. And what a knock from Evan Lewis. He spanked it all around with a very hard hit 92 of just 52 deliveries, 5 fours and 7 sixes, as St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots put up a thanks to Evan Lewis innings of 92. They went and sat at 196 for 6. And as far as the St. Lucia Stars were concerned, they tried it through Andre Fletcher, who made 48 of 33, 6 fours, 1 6. But definitely it was a very tall task for them. They needed every batsman to fire. It didn't happen. There was nobody who could really play a very long innings. Unfortunately, with Samuels 21, Watson 12, Mayers 20, Sammy failed with the bat, unfortunately, and they ended up with 163 for 8, with Patriots winning the match by 33 runs. I'm not going to go into any of those bowling figures here due to lack of time. Hope you all loved this cricket broadcast of mine, which according to me, it was mostly about Hardik Pandya, who really surprised everybody with a century before lunch. Thanks for your company and thanks for watching Cricket Happenings. This is your host Ram signing off this on a Sunday. Thank you.